One day, Ha-neul, who is a third-year high schooler, was drinking with his friend, and one of his friends kept babbling about how his ex-girlfriend left him and was being sad while his other friends were teasing him. Ha-neul suddenly had a flashback to the past and saying, listening to someone else's love story is so annoying, especially if the story resembles the story of someone you like. It's more painful. After he drank a sip of soju, he went outside to get some fresh air, and Ha-neul happened to meet Su-hyeon, who was sad because of a broken heart. And when Ha-neul tried to approach him with teary eyes, he thought Ha-neul was the sunbae he was crying for, and Ha-neul said, "What kind of guy are you mistaken for?" And after he found out it was Ha-neul, he felt embarrassed because he guessed wrong, and Ha-neul asked him where his house was because he was going to take him home, but he said he didn't know, and Ha-neul was determined to take him home, but Su-hyeon kept asking to leave him alone. And when Ha-neul said, "How can I leave someone I like alone?" made Su-hyeon flashback, where when the guy he liked used to say that to him, but the guy still left him. And suddenly he asked Ha-neul to go out with him, and Su-hyeon started to bring up the past where Ha-neul asked him to go out with him and follow him to the university where he studied. And he asked why Ha-neul liked him or he don't want to go out with him. And Ha-neul answered, yes, he don't want it. And with a sad face, he asked why. You don't like me anymore? Did I embrace you? And Ha-neul gently tried to explain the reason, namely that he likes him so much. But doesn't mean he want to date someone who cry because of another man, which means he still have self-respect. Even Su-hyeon agreed to don't go out with him right now because it will be a waste for Ha-neul. And finally, Ha-neul took him to the apartment when he reminded Su-hyeon to change his clothes before going to sleep. He suddenly confessed to him that he really likes him, but he can't allow outdoor clothes in his bed. And he had no other choice but to take off Su-hyeon's clothes. Ha-neul tried to remain calm when taking off his clothes while he's trying to take off his clothes. Su-hyeon suddenly opened his eyes and makes Ha-neul surprised. And when Ha-neul tried to explain that it's a misunderstanding and he just want to change his clothes, Su-hyeon suddenly grabs his face and kisses Ha-neul. At first, Ha-neul rejected and he need to push him because he know Su-hyeon mistook him for someone else. But yeah, he can resist him and continue kissing him, and it's getting intense. Meanwhile, Ha-neul wondering if Su-hyeon trying to test him or if Su-hyeon give him a chance to come to his sense, but the problem are too hard. It's too hard for Ha-neul to resist him. Continuation of chapter 2. Su-hyeon suddenly has a flashback to the past where at that time Ha-neul was struggling to solve the problem and asked Su-hyeon for help. But in reality, he wasn't thinking about that. Instead, he couldn't resist Su-hyeon because Ha-neul likes him so much and want to treasure and cherish him more than anyone else in the world. But when he saw him crying because of another man, he wanted to mess him up. And boom, it was Su-hyeon's dream. And he felt confused because he had never seen that blanket before, which gave him chill as he tried to remember everything. Ha-neul was already awake early in the morning with a fresh appearance and told him he needed to take some hangover relief. Meanwhile, Su-hyeon wasn't really paying attention to what he was saying, and when he started to remember what happened he had just done with Ha-neul was real, it left him speechless and embarrassed. Ha-neul knew he must remember what happened yesterday and asked him to go get some hangover soup. They went to a familiar restaurant and Su-hyeon felt like he should bring up what happened yesterday since he need to apologize. And suddenly, Ha-neul said he didn't expect Su-hyeon to choose hamburger as a hangover remedy. Strangely, he used to eat hamburger to cure hangover, except in the middle of winter. Their conversation continued about how Su-hyeon envied him about Ha-neul didn't have hangover. As he drank moderately, in contrast, Su-hyeon got a hangover from just a half of a beer. It made Ha-neul curious about a man who couldn't even drink, but why Su-hyeon was drinking there and crying alone. And Su-hyeon told Ha-neul that he thinks they broke up, because the ambiguous sentence Su-hyeon said made Ha-neul ask again if Su-hyeon and his boyfriend had not broke up yet. And finally, Su-hyeon began to tell the story of how he met him after a long time. It had been about 3 weeks since they hadn't properly been in touch. Even in the past, when he felt upset about it, he would move on because he likes him so much. But the day before yesterday, his boyfriend took him to a motel, and he thought
Oh, this seems very wrong.
so. They had a big argument when his sunbae was about to leave. Su-hyun told him that if he left, it meant the relationship was over. Su-hyun had been waiting, just in case he regretted, but he was wrong. After hearing that, Ha-neul felt angry, saying, "How dare that bastard do that to Su-hyun?" And the hamburger became a victim of his anger. When Su-hyun told him to calm down, Ha-neul raised his voice, saying, "How can I calm down? What's so good about that son of blah 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 blah? Then you've been dating him for so long." As soon as he said that, he realized there's a lot of people in the restaurant, and they decided to head out from the restaurant, and they take a walk, and Hannah regret after what happened earlier. Well, it looks like Suhyun calm and said not to worry, because he was just looking around in case someone had heard it, and that's why he was even more sorry. Suhyun smiled and thanked him for apologizing. Not stopping there, Hannah wanted to apologize one more time and asked him a question about why Suhyun was dating someone like that, as there was no way he would date that kind of guy. Suhyun tried to calm down as he answered Hanel's question by saying, if he knew, he wouldn't have dated him, and didn't expect to talk about it with Hanel. And Hanel changed the subject by bringing up what happened yesterday, because Suhyun and Hanel are now close and they even kissed. But Suhyun still felt embraced and tried to forget it. And Suhyun realized he was drunk and he made a mistake. Does it mean making out with Hannah was a mistake, that he didn't even have the intention to do it with him?